weekend. Okay, guys, this past weekend, today's Thursday, July 21st. It's 5 days ago. I got a message or a call from one of my buddies, Scott Connor, who told me about an hour and a half away in a place called Roanoke, Virginia. There was a sidewalk sale for a comic book shop. Turns out I thought there was just one comic book shop in Roanoke. I didn't know there were two others. So it was a surprise. And I was like, I don't know. There's a convention coming up in 2 weeks in Bristol, Virginia, called RobCon that has been filling up a place called Viking Hall. And, it's a pretty good convention. So I was thinking about saving my money. And I knew I was going to do what I did. I woke up early that morning and just kind of laid around. This is on a Saturday. And I did what I always do. I do this with Heroes Con. I do this with anything that comes up. I wake up wide awake on a weekend. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go. So I went by, got him, and we got down there, and we got there about an hour after the sidewalk sale had started. And it was supposed to have been 25 long boxes of dollar comics, so I figured why not. Didn't really expect too much. And turned around, and when we got down there, man, ended up being fantastic, man. This place was called Infinity Comics or something like that. And then after that, we went to another comic book shop right down the road. I can't remember the name of that place. And what was so funny is Scott looked at me and said, do not mention the other comic book shop. You don't mention them to each other. He kind of told me the story between the two owners. I'm going to put their dirty laundry out, but I felt like I was in a bad movie a little bit. It kind of cracked me up. See if I can see comments, if anything's out there. I see 2 viewers. See if this works. So anyway, got down there, and before I show the books here, what was wild was this was one of the more aggressive sale place, with the most more aggressive people I'd ever seen at a comic book show. We're talking, conventions and yard sales and flea markets and stuff like that. This is the only place where there's a little bit of an edge to the place. Actually, one of the first boxes I went through, I ran across a great big huge run of the original New Teen Titans from 1980. And the guy who already had a stack like this big, reached across me and said, excuse me, I'm going to take that. And he took like Teen Titans #3. And I couldn't believe what he just did. And I looked at him. I was like, I might want this run. I said, that could be an upgrade for me. He was like, what's the only one I need? And I'm like, well, what else you got in there? And I ended up getting a book from him, trading him. But karma's a bitch, because I ended up about near the end, after we were getting ready to leave, I ended up walking up to the table. The owner kept coming out with more and more short boxes, putting it in comics to, fill them up. And it was just, some really good stuff in there. I couldn't believe these were for $1. And I actually found a stack. I'd made a great big huge stack, and I'd shrunk it down to what I bought and set it down. I went over there. There's a Gotham by Gaslight out there in like mint condition. Gotham by Gaslight came out in the 80s, folks. So I sit there, and this guy dressed all in black said, that stack's been here since I've been here, man. Go ahead. I'm not getting anything in there. And I was like, this isn't anybody's? And he said, no. So I grabbed that Gotham by Gaslight, looked through the books, put it in my stack at another table, went to the other box to see what he's refilling. And all of a sudden I see this guy stomping down there all pissed off, and he takes the book and all this stuff. And I'm like, sorry, man, sorry. And just wouldn't do it. So I don't know if it was the heat or the thrill of the hunt or what was going on, man, but I have never been to a place that felt so aggressive. So when we went inside, it turned out that this comic book shop had a 50-cent bin, and then Scott told me about the other comic book shop that had the quarter bin. So I was just like, oh my God, I've been missing out here this whole time. So I got some really good deals. I'm going to show you what I got. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. Some of this stuff I got, I'm just going to put it on eBay, and I'm starting to do that thing again where I want to try to shrink my collection down and stuff. And I need bags and boards, and there's other stuff I want to buy and things like that. Let's see if I can get my video to come up so I can see comments. And no, I cannot. So anyway, go ahead and comment, guys. I'll figure it out here in a minute. So anyway, I'm going to get on here, and I'm going to talk about dang it, gone. So I'm going to talk about what I bought here. Okay, first of all, this is the stack that I got for $1 a piece. Okay, first thing I found in there, this is from the Fantastic Four series that started back with Heroes Return. Chris Claremont was on it, Salvador LaRocca, up for the first couple of issues. They had Alan Davis. I think Alan Davis did some pencils too before Salvador LaRocca came on here. But anyway, I had this for years, and just last year, I took this whole run of Fantastic Four, took it to a flea market and traded 2 books for 1 out there and stuff and got rid of this thing. Not impressed with this run, and I love Chris Claremont, but he can't stay away from his X-Men books. He mixed Genosha in there, and Fantastic Four is not the X-Men. But anyway, apparently this Fantastic Four number 11, apparently there was a bit of rise in demand for it because this character here, who I think her name is Aisha, apparently has been announced to be in the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 movie. If you know the character, what's in here and stuff, that's wild that they picked her out of nowhere. I don't know. This cover is a Kirby homage for another Fantastic Four book. I think it was first appearance of him. I think it was Fantastic Four 67, who ended up becoming, it was just as a Cocoon, and then he ended up becoming Adam Warlock, and they introduced her in Marvel 2-in-1, which I have over here. So I'm wondering if they announced her and they think it's her, because they call her on the cover. Her name is Aisha. Completely different character. Time will tell, but I got it. Cracks me up. Found these. The second issue of that Todd McFarlane did on Amazing Spider-Man back in the day. This is issue 299. This one's the upgrade. This was $1. This is the one I'll probably put on eBay. This one's $1. Getting messages. Nope, still not showing up. Can't get it to come up. Anyway, so yeah, this is awesome. I got 2 of those, had to grab them. Now, when that guy reached across me and got that new Teen Titans number 3 or whatever it was, and I was like, what do you got? Because that's just rude, man. It's just not etiquette. And I can put a smile on my face, but that just, you shall not pass. You shall not pass with that. So he ended up saying, he went through his stack and he's like, well, I got this. He wanted the new Teen Titans so bad, he gave me a Neil Adams Justice League America cover to kind of make it better for $1 here, right? Justice League America 138. Neil Adams just did the cover. There's a few covers he did this run. These are sort of hard to find in the wild with my experience. No idea what the value is, but it's Bronze Age Neil Adams. Had to get it, man. Had to get it. And I have a huge Justice League run. Huge Justice League and Legion of Superheroes. And those books were, to get more bang for my money, I would get books with a lot of characters in it and stuff. So I ended up with a very large Justice League of America collection. And now I have this one, Neil Adams cover for $1. Found this in there. My mouth dropped because, like I said, we got there an hour after the sale had started. I really was surprised to find any of this stuff in there, to tell you the truth. I mean, like I said, there was a lot of variety in that stuff, a lot of good stuff. Anyway, I ended up finding this X-Force number 15, Deadpool, versus Cable on this. Yes, this is going to go on eBay. I've had this book about 3 or 4 times. It's X-Force, early 90s, bless their hearts, Then I about fell down. Yeah, Teen Titans number 1. This is an upgrade for the one that I paid $7 for. This was $1. Cannot believe it was in there. No, they didn't have number 2. That was probably about the only issue of the first, 36 issues they had in there. But this is mint. I'm keeping it. $1. 35, 36-year-old comic. $1. I cannot believe that was in there. This was also an upgrade, number 4, New Teen Titans versus Justice League of America. There's a twist in it, if you will. So, yeah, that was really cool to find. Needed that one. And then this was the one that was missing out of my run, number 12. No idea where this went. I had this book, didn't trade it. I can't imagine anybody stealing it. Just kind of disappeared. Maybe the comic books got all cannibal on each other one night or something, and somebody ate it. But yeah, this is Clash of the Titans. Our Teen Titans versus the Titans of Myth, if you will. So. And then I got 2 issues of this. Now, I have My Other Boys number 1. I had a Boys the number 1 that was signed by Garth Ennis, and I gave that to Jeff Johnson because he shouted me out in a video because he heard me talk about the Boys. And apparently this is shot up. I think it's going to be a Cinemax show, maybe an HBO show. It was announced. I don't know where they're at with it and stuff. So apparently the book is hiked up, and I tell you what, the only place they could really do this is Cinemax or HBO, because there's some shit that goes down on this stuff that this is like my guilty pleasure book, man. This is the one where I would gladly pull Playboys out of the closet if I still had them. and put the boys in there a little bit beside of a cross because some of the stuff that goes on in here, man. So yeah, great book. Great book. Oh yeah, I found two of them. Yeah, there was two of them. So yeah. And I don't know, man. Somebody tried to tell me this book jumped up to $70 of actual value, not eBay prices. I didn't check it. I don't know, but still kind of cool. Now, this was a book that hit big in the '90s, man. Stephen Platt came on, and he came on there, and now Stephen Platt. I know he's got his fans. He's got a lot of motion, but to me, it's sort of like he was a Todd McFarlane. And I'm not going to say a clone because he had anatomy better. He put a lot of action in there with a little bit of his twist, but when I look at his stuff, man, I see a lot of Frank Miller and a lot of Todd McFarlane. And I really haven't gone through this, but this was a hot book there for a while. And find it for $1, I was like, why not? And I remember a lot of people got disappointed because he jumped to Image and started doing Prophet for Rob Liefeld. I don't know. Maybe I think it might have hurt his career. I don't know. Maybe he's not around. And then I'm always looking for that first run of Sin City by Frank Miller that popped up in Dark Horse Presents in the early '90s when it popped up. Took a chance on this one. This is number 51. I don't know if I have it or not, but I figured why not. And then I can't believe this. I'm telling you, man, I haven't opened to see if there's a coupon stuff. I mean, this is probably my second or third copy of this, if I remember right. But we're going to say Ray. I'm assuming Ray is the proper way to pronounce this title. I was saying Ra forever because of Samurai. Well, no, I was saying Ray because of Samurai. Let's back up. Samurai. So I was saying Rai. His name was Rai, and I think people say it's Ray, R-A-A. I don't know. But anyway, this is from the Valiant era. Valiant's been kicking it, and they've been talking movies with Bloodshot and stuff like that. So for anybody to have any number ones of Valiant from the '90s and stuff, I think I love the book, so I'm not really worried about investment, but I think it's kind of grab it if you see it. Now, this is a book I've been looking for a long time at a decent price, and it's a Bernie Wrightson cover. This is a Bronze Age book, Kong the Untamed. It only lasted 6-7 issues or something like that, but I love caveman stories. I love Bigfoot stories. I love, that kind of stuff, primitive stuff, 2000 AD, Anthro, anything you throw out there like this and stuff. But this is Kong #1 and it's worth a little, it's kind of hard to find because the Bernie Wrightson fans get it because he did the cover. This now completes that set. Really like the book. I don't know, maybe I'll do a review of it one day just for like kind of a hidden gem, Then I'm hoping I grab the right one. #1, huge Blade Runner fan, okay, of the movie. I actually like all versions of the movie. I liked the original theatrical release where had that film noir feel, and you had Harrison Ford speaking throughout the movie about what's going on, kind of gave it that film. Apparently they hated it, and I love all the cuts that have come out, and I love Al Williamson, the guy that did this. This was 2 issues. I don't know if they had a Marvel Super Special Spectacular like they had back in the day with this one. I mean, I don't know if they did or not, the Last Starfighter, but I've seen this broke down. I had the Dark Crystal one also, and I've seen it broke down to a 2-issue miniseries, but if I'm just getting this, if this is all they've had. So hopefully, I bought one last year. I don't know if it was #1 or #2, but I grabbed it. It's $1. I think it's a good investment. I hear there's Blade Runner 2 getting ready to come out. I've actually got one of the paperbacks that's supposed to be the sequel to the movie, so not the actual book. The actual book was Philip K. Dick. To me, this sounds like common knowledge, man. It was Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep and stuff, so. But anyway, this was really great to get. And what was so cool about this book here is a couple years ago at Heroes Con, I met Arthur Pseudonym. And it was really odd because we both ended up talking as comic book fans. I gave him a Heavy Metal or an Epic magazine to sign, and he's kind of started thumbing through it, and he saw the ad for this Blade Runner adaptation. And all of a sudden, he's a huge Al Williamson fan, and I ended up telling him about Blade Runner and kind of giving him a little bit of history on Al Williamson, to the professional. So that was kind of cool. All right, this one right here, yes, for you guys that have popped in on the live show, you're seeing an event. I have bought a Booster Gold book because I had the story that started in Action Comics or something to complete the story of the Booster Gold. I'm assuming this ties in. The Action Comics that John Byrne did, where Superman teamed up with Booster Gold, had them reversed. It had Booster Gold putting Superman's face in the mud. I feel like I've sold my soul. I don't know, but I got it. I did it. Then I was really happy to see this. I'm trying to complete a lot of the Crisis run, anything that's crossed over with this. This was actually a hard book to get for a while. I think the last 3 issues were really hard to get, or they were back in the day, because this is the last issue of Wonder Woman. This is issue 329. And then they rebooted after Crisis with the fantastic series that Len Wein and George Perez did. And George Perez ended up taking over the writing along with the pencils, and then just became writer on it, and on and on. But I think this is by Roy Thomas and Gene Colan, kind of in this era of Wonder Woman. So, and I'm one of those guys, when it comes to Wonder Woman, my Wonder Woman will always have the golden eagle on her chest, not the W's. I can't help it, And then I can't believe this. This is a beautiful black cover copy of Captain Marvel number 27, Bronze Age book. I went through it. This thing is beautiful. Somebody took care of it, and it just blows my mind to get that for $1. This was fantastic. All right, guys. So where are we at now? Now I had the 50-cent bin in there, so I went in there. And the 50-cent bin had stuff that, I'm not saying that this is, gold per se, but it really blew my mind that this stuff was 50 cents. This, to me, this stuff is worth more than 50 cents, but, I'm not going to complain. But getting closer and closer to having the Hellblazer, all 300 issues of Hellblazer. And we had this. This was Hard Times. This is what Brian Azzarello came on with Richard Corbin, and they put John Constantine in an American prison. And this sort of got, this is issue 146, but when this came out and Brian Azzarello jumped on there and he was in American prison and stuff, this got people's attention. This put Hellblazer back on the map for a little bit because of the fresh start, or just, the cast and stuff. And I actually remember Wizard Magazine responded to this by doing some kind of interview or something. I might go through my Wizards one day and find some of this stuff. But yeah, Timothy Bradstreet covers and stuff. So I ended up getting 146 all the way through 151. And I read this Hard Times arc the night that I bought these. And you talk about needing to feel like you need to take a shower, man. This stuff is, I do not ever want to go to prison. I already knew that, man. But oh my God, the stuff that happened in this, I'm kind of wondering if this story arc might have won an award just for the freaking atmosphere they put on there. Yeah, there's part 5. And then I found issue 151 also. So this took a little bit of a chunk. Then I grabbed this for a friend. This is Justice League number 22. And this kind of caused a little bit of a stir back in the day, top of Grant Morrison bringing back the Justice League proper and stuff. Just doing some fantastic story, The Rock of Ages with Darkseid Is. That actually tied into Final Crisis years later. But anyway, this has Neil Gaiman's Sandman in it. And when you use Sandman, you have to get Neil Gaiman's permission. So they kind of had an out. They're saying this is the Sandman Daniel of the DC universe, not of the Vertigo, but it didn't really matter. Everybody knew who it was. So, you had the Sandman making a little appearance there. I think he popped up in issue 23 also. I have him. I bought him off the rack, but this was for a friend who's really into Sandman. Then I got this Amazing Heroes, man. I got to get my Michael Moorcock fix, man. These were 50 cents now. And this is behind the scenes of Hawkmoon. I think it was that first comics back then, But the Michael Moorcock stuff started getting adapted left and right in the 80s. Those books are cheap, and they're not as, they're just comic book retellings in a more or less complex manner of the novels and stuff, right? And I've never read any Hawkmoon. I've got a few of the comics, but I've never run across the books and stuff. I've read Corum. I've got a bunch of the Michael Moorcock stuff right here of Eric and stuff. Then I'm getting closer. I think I'm down to like needing 6 or 7 issues to finish this Hitman run by Garth Ennis. If you like Garth Ennis, and this is a story set proper in the DC universe in Gotham City, this was a really great 60-issue series. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's just some really great reading. I'm really glad I'm so close to having the rest of these, because I think the first 16, 17, 18 issues were pretty easy to find, and they just started disappearing from the racks. I don't know if people weren't ordering them. I didn't have a comic book shop when this was coming out. I think I had a 1-year-old son to take care of, so I wasn't traveling like I was, having the opportunity to get them. And then Rising Stars, I've heard buzz about this again. They're talking TV show or movie again or something somewhere along the line. I don't know. Maybe that's already passed. But I got the Prelude for 50 cents. You know, some of these books are kind of hard to find. And then I got the Dreaming. Apparently, the Dreaming got really good before they canceled it. Neil Gaiman kind of was supposed to be a consultant on it, but this was all characters involving Neil Gaiman's Sandman. And Daniel the Sandman does make an appearance in this with the Corinthian. I mean, if you're into Sandman stuff, you know. So I think I'm going to try to go ahead and get these again. I think it really started out in a way that I really didn't like, but apparently it got better is what I've heard. Another thing that I got this. This was $7.50 or $7, but anyway, it was half the cover price. I had to get this, man. This is Michael Moorcock's Elric of the Weird of the White Wolf, adapting that novel. This thing is just fantastic, you know, and it's from First Comics, First Publishings and stuff. This was broken down into a mini series of comics, but apparently, I don't know if this was a collected edition, or I don't know if this came out first and then they broke it down into comics. But I was really happy to find this. I didn't know this existed, so just fantastic. All right, where we at here? This was also 50. Yeah, this was 50 cents. The last thing that was 50 cents. Mythmaker. Scott grabbed it, told me I needed to get it. These are stories. Roy Thomas has adapted stories of Robert E. Howard, the man who created Conan, and he said you have to get this because look at the people who worked on this book. Okay, John Bolton, Tim Sale, Richard Corbin, Kelly Jones. Apparently, these are adaptions of Robert E. Howard stories. And I don't know if they're just Conan or not. Spear and Fang, Dream Snake, Drummond's Bane, so maybe they are and stuff, but this is from something called Cross Plains Comics. I've never really heard of this. Apparently this came out in 1999, but he bragged on this and said it had fantastic art, so it's gonna be kind of cool to see that. Let me see if I can get this video to pop up, see if there's any comments. I appreciate everybody that's watching this, man. I've been watching the numbers steadily grow. I'm slightly impressed. Nope, still not coming up. So I'm going to assume there's some stuff in there. Hopefully I can read it before it goes off air. Now, this goes all the way back down to the other comic book shop where these came out of quarter boxes, okay? And I was kind of limited what to get because you had to buy $20 before you could use your check card. So my buddy Scott gave me 50 cents, you know, and then, you know, some of this other stuff I ended up getting to get all this stuff. But first thing I grabbed out of there was this. Now, this is going to be a reader's copy. You can feel this right here. This, first of all, let me tell you what it is. Superman Annual number 11 by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, are people who brought us The Watchmen. But this is the famous story for the man who has everything. We get the Black Mercy, Jason Todd Robin. Superman imagined what it would be like if his dreams came true to where he could grow up on Krypton. Has the famous line of Superman just turning around, looking at Mongol and saying, burn, hitting him with heat vision. But somebody got on this and they traced it. You can feel where they put a piece of paper on this and traced this cover, and they really shaded in all the black on there on that paper. I know that's what they did. So that's a good reader's copy. I've got a really nice copy upstairs. This right here, I don't expect a lot of people to know what this was. I kind of respected the guy named Drew Hayes. Let me make sure I got his name right. It's been a while. Drew Hayes, who did Poison Elves. This is really some intense reading, man. Basically, it's some really tough little fairies. And he has a magic gun that never runs out of bullets and stuff. The guy was like, the guy who drew this has died. He passed away, but it's like, imagine a guy who's a little bit dysfunctional and a Slayer fan, and he kind of got the idea he beat all the odds, and he did the comic his way. This is a color special. When his book came out through Sirius and stuff, it was black and white and stuff. So I just had to grab this since it's in color, man. The guy did some neat stuff. Don't know if it's for everybody. Don't want to hype it up, but pretty good stuff. You know, it's kind of cool to find that little nostalgia for me there. Okay. Then I couldn't believe this was a quarter a piece, right? I got Martial Law versus Pinhead. I've already got a copy of this, and it took me forever to find issue number 1, I think it was. Okay. But yeah, Yeah, Martial Law versus Pinhead. I mean, just the Hellraiser Pinhead fans alone. Nice shiny cover. But yeah, this is by the guy. This is drawn by Kevin O'Neill, who does Leave Extraordinary Gentlemen and stuff with Alan Moore. Pat Mills wrote this. And I always kind of considered Martial Law like the bastard cousin of Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns. Not that it's a fantastic read, but the atmosphere and the things that they did and the satire that's hidden in it. When you first read this thing, man, you're like, what the hell am I reading? And then when you get into Martial Law, you start seeing the genius of it. Yeah, got to do a lot of adjustment reading. And then what we got here is a book that was a cult book for Marvel. Somebody's messaged me here. And I think the cult has died down a bit. I paid too much attention to Wonder Woman's boobs. How funny. All right. So anyway, that was a direct message. I can't read the comments. But anyway, this is Strike Force Mortuary. Okay. This came out, I think, in the 87? 86. This was 86. And this is Brent Anderson, who I'm a fan of through Astro City and some of his 70s work at Marvel and stuff. And Pete Gillis, I think. But this was outside of the Marvel Universe and stuff. And the thing about this is it was a morbid read. I've read a few issues. I've actually had a full set one time. Then I had a partial set one time. And they sold pretty easy. I'm not saying they're worth money, but this thing has been caught up in legal matters. And there was actually one or two attempts and they're trying to make it into a TV show. But the thing about it is that it always had a cult following for a long time. This was the series that a lot of fans were like, how come you guys haven't collected this? And I'm pretty sure Marvel came out with 3 volumes 4 or 5 years ago of this finally, but it was kind of a slap in the face to the creators. Basically what happened and what I understood, take with a grain of salt, is that there's a contract you sign saying your intellectual property belongs to Marvel or something, and they didn't make him sign this when he was writing the series, so he is supposed to be half owner. And Marvel supposedly, allegedly, faked a contract where they took one of his signature pages from another contract and stapled it to the back of another contract and actually used pencil or something. So I don't know. This thing kind of had an infamous little backstory. But this is Strike Force Mortuary. Alien invasion in the future. 2069 maybe is the year, and in order to fight the aliens that are coming and invading Earth, you can get superpowers that will kill you in 1 year, and you'll never know if you made a difference or not. And supposedly it's got some very morbid moments, and it's like the Doors song. It's like the Doors, like Jim Morrison. Nobody gets out alive. Nobody gets out of here alive. So yeah, I think there was a couple generations of this team. So I got a big chunk of it. I got 2-3 issues upstairs, but I got like number 1 upstairs and stuff. But I need to really sit down and read this. And these are really great shape to be books that are almost 30 years old. I remember seeing the advertisements for this, For We Who Are About to Die. Apparently it's supposed to be a pretty heavy read here and there. So I kind of want to put this up there with something Marvel did a little bit different back in the day, right there with Squadron Supreme. So, yeah, I think this only ran for 31 issues or so. And like I said, Brett Anderson's art, even if the story is a little bit hyped or dated or whatever, his art is always just a pleasure. Great storyteller is what I'm getting at. Just a great storyteller. Oh, man. So, yeah, I'm real happy. These were all $1 a piece. And like I said, I've sold them pretty easy in the past, when you have a big bulk of them. Hope I'm not going too fast here. Too much attention to Wonder Woman's boobs. That's cracking me up. All right. I'll figure this all out. All right, guys. That's it. Just want to hurry and make this video. I'm going to be working a lot in the next few days. I have company coming down hopefully next week. So for anybody that's going to comment on this video, anybody commented on my previous video, and thanks for the great comments and support on that, guys. I may not be on YouTube for the next few days, but I'll check in here and there, at least on my phone and stuff. So feel free to comment. Thanks for everybody watching this live show. Hey, you guys enjoy the rest of your summer. Later, guys.